Here we are again, and this is one that I'm super excited about, and I hope the rest of you guys
of course.
Get into it as much as I'm excited.
Dogs
But
are cool.
We have Ron.
Tell Austin to put his phone down if he's excited.
I am excited. Work never ends.
Yeah, work never ends. But we got Ron from the Hunting Dog podcast, and just recently the Upland Institute on the podcast today. Ron, how you doing, buddy?
As I say, a friend of mine said years ago, if it was any better, it would be against the law.
Nah, that's
good.
I like it.
I like it. Well, as we talked about a little bit before the podcast, you haven't gotten out yet to shoot any doves. I tried this weekend and only saw one bird flying down here, and they just haven't been around. They're definitely in town. So, but
what's normal for you guys? What town are you guys in Texas?
Dallas-Fort Worth.
We're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Fort Worth side, really.
Yeah. I was there years ago working, in construction. Of course, I wasn't hunting, but you don't. Is it tough to find a place, or do you have connections? It's just a shitty year for dove right now.
Everything I've read says it's a pretty shitty year starting out.
Okay.
There's a lot of public land 3 miles from where we sit right now. So there's opportunity, and there's probably birds in my backyard right now.
Yeah, there's always doves.
There's always doves in my backyard. So I think it's the heat, maybe. I don't know. But I heard a lot of people say the opener in this last week has been very meh. So
the guy that I talked to down south for next weekend was going to send him paperwork for the whole crew, and he said, don't. He said, call me the day before. He's like, there hadn't been birds.
Yeah.
He said opening day was good. The next day there weren't shit in the air. So I guess it's just kind of bad all around.
Who knows? These hurricanes and stuff, I don't know. Some people say the pressure changes and all that messes things up. That's a long ways from us. I don't know.
The Texas Dove Hunting Association posted a thing the other day that said that the late freeze we had that horrible freeze down here that was real late, and then the real wet. Like we've been having rain. We had rain the other day? A big old thunderstorm came in. Just out of the blue. Like I didn't think my phone said anything about it, and it just dumped on us.
What was that, like Tuesday morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's just not normal for that area.
No.
Summers, we get a good dry patch in the summer. Spring's usually pretty wet, and fall gets wetter. Yeah. I don't know. We should be rolling in some rain now, but the last couple of weeks have been dry in that one run, and I don't know. The Farmer's Almanac this year is saying we're in for another cold one. I'm good as long as it happens during duck season.
Oh yeah.
I want the second ice age to hit north of us and push them down to the Red River.
Yeah.
But maybe that's selfish. Whatever.
It's okay. It's all right to be a little selfish when it comes to bird hunting.
Yeah, I'll launch my boat with a side-by-side, just drag it down the street.
You gotta, there's a saying, you give a man a little luck and anything will do for brains. We need a little luck.
Yeah. I'd rather be lucky or good. Rather be lucky.
Well, shit, man. And if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all.
I didn't get to go dove hunting. It broke my heart. I still maintain a home in Virginia that I had I still have, and I worked out of for about 9 years straight. And I'd come home every couple months, but I was down a project there that never ended. And so I got the traditions of the Virginia dove hunt, and I'm sure the same in Texas and the South, where that opening day it's kind of your kickoff. Pull the trigger, blow the cobwebs out, and and we say dove hunting, it's dove shooting, but it's like the most fun you can have. It's just so fun.
You get the dogs out. You like you said, blow dust off your gun, drink beer, hang out with your buddies. It's Texas. It's Texas Christmas.
Yeah, start picking on each other because how many shells did it take you to kill 15 doves, and you're looking down like, I'm getting close to
30, at least.
Smoke one from 10 yards away, and it disintegrates.
Yep.
The only bird I saw last weekend was one. It was one of those normal dove that you don't see anything in the sky, and all of a sudden you look over your left shoulder, and there it is. And I tried to pull up on it, and I missed. And my daughter looked at me, and I have a 10-year-old daughter, and she went, why'd you miss, Dad? And then my dog yelled at me. It literally barked at me several times because there was no feathers and it couldn't get off place. So that was my whole weekend.
So you blew your daughter's, her vibe of her dad, and your dog now hates you. So yeah.
Great day in the field.
Yeah, I'm a bird hunter. That's what we do.
Yeah, we just struggle. We just struggle. I when I shoot doves in Virginia, I go out with 3 boxes every time.
Uh-huh.
I've never used 75 shells to kill 15 doves, but I've come pretty damn close to.
But I've used 74.
and when I see that, I'm like, holy crap. And then I feel my pocket. I'm like, oh no, there's 4 in here. I only used 71.
Exactly.
Not bad.
We're doing good.
We're good.
But I noticed, and my friends all noticed when I did that episode with Ranella down at my place in Virginia. It's like when you're down to about 5 doves left, and they're not flying all over, and you're not poking at everything in the sky. You can get the next 5 doves in 7 or 8 shells. But in the beginning...
No, you can't hit the side of a barn.
If a barn was flying by, I'd have missed it.
Exactly.
And it's like, not a bad shot.
Yep.
But why am I poking at every bird that's going by that weighs 5 ounces that's 50 yards in the air? Can't help it.
I'm
Get a little excited.
Yeah.
Dragonflies are my problem.
Dragonflies catch them out of the corner of your eye.
Dragonflies will zoom by, and I got to the point now where I'll just, out of anger, will shoot them. Get out of here.
I'm definitely more.
Does Jared have prescription glasses or just?
No, I can't see.
No,
because
we've definitely discussed this.
Dragonfly, yeah.
Out of the corner of your eye, man. It's a black dot in the sky.
Well, I know you don't deer hunt, Ron, but it's like here in Texas we have these plants that have like 3 little top parts. I don't know what their plants actually are, but
trees.
No, they're little shrub brush.
Branches. 2 syllables. Sounds like branches.
It's a little like bush, but it's not a tree, and it has like 3 little leaves that come off of it, and every time it looks like the front of a deer and the ears standing up. Whenever you're looking there
at first light,
and you're looking at it, and you're like getting the binoculars on you. Man, I got one coming in. And all of a sudden the sun comes all the way up, and you're like, oh crap, it's just a bush.
Yeah,
you guys aren't any smarter in Texas than we are up north. I can see that right off the bat.
Oh no,
we know how to have fun. It's all right.
Yeah, yeah. So talking about missing birds, I mean, I definitely duck hunt more than I hunt anything else, and I can get the perfect squared up Ducks Unlimited magazine cover, wings cupped and gear down, and it's hitting the spread, and dump 3 shells, and it flies off, all feathers intact. But you catch a teal screaming on the swing, I'll smoke it. There's no math to this. I guess because we get so few birds decoying well, I just don't know what to do.
So I was actually talking to someone about this today, and I was telling them how I miss almost all the time, especially on ducks, because you see them coming in, you think about it, it's in your mind, you're sitting there, you're anticipating the shot, you're like, and then I went to New Mexico and hunted scale quail, and I had one flush at my feet, turned and just smoked it perfectly. I mean, just like not even thinking about it. It was such an easy shot, but I really think it's that reactionary shot. When you actually use your shotgun, how it's supposed to be used, where you just point and shoot, where you're supposed to, and it works. But when you think about it, you're trying to aim and do that, and
doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
It's bent barrel.
Bent barrel. See, it's got to be the gun.
Very few. I know. I'm a say like we hunt rough grouse in Michigan, and there isn't a harder bird to hunt because picture being in a stem density of a tree every 3.5 feet, and a bird gets up. So it gets up at the speed of light. Doesn't go fast once it's out 30 yards, but it explodes off the ground, scares the crap out of you, and all you do is see trees. And the birds that, if my dog points them, I'm like, okay, all right. And Bravo's pretty good. He's developed into a decent, what I call a decent grouse dog. Most dogs get a little too much pressure on them, and grouse up here get hunted a lot. So it's kind of like, deer that get hunted a lot. It's different than a deer that doesn't get hunted. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're ready. They've been escaping shit all year, and you get there with a dog that's not ready, and they're just laughing at you. But he'll go on point, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, where's my good hole? Where's the good? Yep. I'll miss that bird every freaking time it gets up over point. And I'll literally be walking. One will fly backwards behind me. I'll spin. Bam! Just like that. Instinctive shooting. And because what happens is your eye is literally on the target. The minute your eye goes to the barrel, that's why we miss when we're aiming at ducks coming in and ducks cupping their wings. Because we're throwing that barrel and they're going, 3 feet, 3 feet 2.
Yeah.
You'd be better off closing your eyes and having your buddy tell you there's ducks coming in. Just open your eyes too.
You're probably right.
I know it would be.
Sounds right.
So, Jordan, you have a bird dog.
Yes, sir.
Loosely shaped,
very loosely shaped.
What do you have?
I have a German Shorthair.
And how old is it?
It is 1.5 right now.
All right, so you got like a 12-year-old teenager that just found his first Playboy magazine. Right?
Yes, for sure.
Well, we're talking a couple of years when he's matured a little bit. But what about the other guys? Dogs for duck hunting, or just you use a landing net?
I've been down that road when we were young and poorer. I've got an English lab. He went to school and stuff. He's good.
Yeah.
He's down to sit in the living room and drink beer or to go get ducks. He's good with either, and I like that breed for that.
I love dogs that can chill like that. These dogs I've got, I literally don't think if we go, it's like whatever I put into them is what we'll get out of them. But like with your short hair, he wants to go whether you want to go or not half the time.
Yes.
And that's just pretty much a lot of bird dogs, but like I said, lab, like it's the reason it's the most popular dog out there. You get a good lab and you're not going to go sage grouse hunting with it real successful, but you're going to do a whole lot of other stuff. And you're not going to spend your day going, little fucking.
Oh, he went to school, and this will be his second or third year. Third year since I got him and he went to school, and I mean that first year, they've got to figure it out. But it was a light switch once he did, and he's super chill and is ready to go when you're up early and sees waders and stuff, and is birdie. I mean, you see him laying around the living room, you're like, there's no way that dog hunts. There's some shotgun go off, and a duck hits the water, and he's on it.
Yeah, he's quick when he wants to.
Yeah, it's cool. We like him.
How far do you guys have to go to duck hunt from where you live?
So, like
3 miles.
Yeah, like Austin was saying, we live right next to a place where we can go right out. Like it's
Lake Grapevine, if you're any sort of familiar with the area.
Well, I know. Is that near the town of Grapevine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just on the north side of it.
I got a very good friend that's from Grapevine. Yep.
So yeah, you can. It's public land. It's Army Corps land, but it's a limited draw permit. But draw is a interesting word. It's basically they give away what is it 800?
First come first serve.
Yeah.
800.
I think it's like 600.
600. They give out 600 permits, and they're free. You just got to mail it in. So midnight, of the day of it, you shoot your email off, and they respond like, all right, you're number 179, and it's easy to do as long as you do it. So it's nice. Are there birds there? Absolutely. Are they tough to hunt? Absolutely. Is it nice? Is it nice being 3 miles from the house? Absolutely.
Well, and we graduated to this one because before we were waking up, like normal duck hunters, like you love at 2:00 in the morning and driving out to a place and getting all ready and getting out there before the sun comes up and fighting for spots, and now we're here. And
that's how it is. Yeah.
It's still that way, but driving 5 minutes versus an hour and a half is different at 3 a.m.
Well, it even feels better on a day that doesn't go well. At least you're back home.
Oh, yeah. You can just call it and be like, let's go.
We go back tomorrow. We'll go next weekend, whatever.
Yep.
And you guys rely pretty much on flight ducks down there then?
Oh yeah. There are some resident mallards. It's so hot. Jordan saw a bunch this weekend at another lake. It's all migratory ducks, and by the time they get this far south, a lot of them have education, you know.
Oh yeah.
So that they get wary, and one day they'll hate motion, next day they'll love motion. I mean, it's challenging, and teal are this way all the time, as you know. But you can hunt a big mud flat one day and find a bunch of teal, next day you won't see a single one, and it seems that way with most ducks down here. If you go down to the coast, where they kind of winter. You get on a pile of ducks. Last day of the season, second to last day of the season last year, me and the other guy who's not here shot 5-man limit down the coast. So that was awesome.
Nice.
But up here, you're fighting for every bird, but it's fun,
Oh God, yeah. I mean, if you knock a couple down, I mean, what else you need? I mean,
absolutely.
The limits are the ones you remember, but it's like, it's just to me, hunting is social, Yeah. I rarely bird hunt. If I bird hunt by myself, it's because I can grouse hunt, rough grouse hunt, 10 minutes from my house. There's a creek that I can walk. There's always a bird or two, and there's usually some woodcock in there in the fall. I'll go there by myself when I've got an hour or 2 hours or something. But I rarely hunt by myself. People always say I wouldn't hunt if it wasn't for my dog. I'm like, I wouldn't hunt if it wasn't for my buddies.
Oh yeah,
100%. We all deer hunt, and I enjoy taking a couple deer every year. I enjoy everything about it and having them meet. But I'm 100% more of a duck hunter. Like sitting in the blind with your buddies, just talking shit.
We took a friend of ours. He's a good friend of ours, but he doesn't hunt with us much. We took him out last year,
and we were already burned out on the season.
The three of us and the other guy, Abe, who's not here,
and
Lauren was there,
my wife
his wife.
Went.
And all we did for that whole morning was just talk shit to each other.
I swear, the guy we took was. I think it felt like he was so just like, I came to hunt, and we were so done with it. Come an hour after first light, we were just jawing at each other and. There's a bird. I was like, it ain't coming.
Standing up and moving around
it doesn't matter.
And yelling at each other.
That bird ain't coming here.
Yeah, that's the two guys like, look. Yeah, just wave to him.
He wants nothing to do with us. Ignore that.
I gotta ask this question. I'm gonna direct it to Jordan if he's the ringleader here. Storm Creek. What is the name?
So Stormwater Creek. It's kind of an inside joke. I started. A long time ago, I started just the name and was trying to make something out of it. And behind my house, I live in Arlington, Texas, and behind my house there is a stormwater runoff that in the back of my house, if you look at it, it looks like a creek. And we started calling it the Stormwater Creek. So I named it after that. So
it's stuck.
It's stuck because it's funny because that's exactly what.
It's a storm drain.
Yeah, it's a storm drain, and it looks good from a distance, but when you really look at it, you're like, it's still a stormwater runoff. So it kind of describes us perfectly.
Good from far from good.
People see us and they're like, oh, they look pretty decent. And they hear us and they're like, oh, wait a minute.
Like, oh, these people are stupid.
These guys are idiots. Yeah. We are. It's
Jared,
fine.
I want to ask Jared. This turned into my interview to you guys.
Absolutely.
Now, Jared has not poked up with a dog yet. Austin's got one. Jordan's got one.
I do not own a dog. I am getting married in a couple months, and that's on the docket. And my fiance's uncle has a GSP. He's 11, and we had dinner with him the other day, and he wouldn't shut up about it. And he's like, you got to get a GSP. They're the best bird dogs ever. You got to get one. And I'm like, I've seen his GSP. A buddy of mine's got a wire hair, and I don't know if I want that kind of energy in my life.
You want to talk about your wire hair?
I've seen Austin's English Lab, and Max is 100% the kind of dog I'd like because
he's good for whatever.
He's self-sufficient, and then when it's time to go hunt birds, he knows what his job is, then he comes home and he lays back down.
I know someone with Bracco Italianos.
Yeah. You don't want one of them, trust me.
One of those long-eared slobbery dogs?
Half of them can't swim. Half of them won't use their back legs. When they're puppies, they're in there like, what are you doing? And they look like you got to throw them a life preserver. They're like, oh.
Yeah. So mine won't really swim. I've been working with her, and she'll swim like if she's excited. Man, she's a rocket ship. Boom, she'll swim out, right? So one day I was working with her, and I had a dummy, and I was throwing it out, and I sent her, and she goes out, and she's excited to get that thing, man. She goes for the retrieve, she gets it, she turns around, and like you could see it in her eyes, like she's like, wait a minute, I don't know how to swim, and all of a sudden she's like, goon, 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 just front arms up, and her ass end sinks down, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like she swam beautifully out to this thing, right? Beautifully, just quick as could be, and just like light switch. I don't know how to swim.
I've seen it a lot, but I see it a lot in Brock. I don't see it a lot in short hairs. I'll be honest with you. Usually they can motor both ways, but you know, you got to, you know, take what you got. You know, take what you got. Usually when they get something in their mouth, that's when they usually plane out, and yours just panics.
Yeah. Well, she got what she wanted, and then she realized where she was at. Like that was a few months ago, and now she's a real good swimmer. She's been doing really good now. We just, you know, slowly but surely, you know, I probably get frustrated with her more than I probably should, like most short hair owners do, but, you know, been trying to take it easy and just work with her and one step at a time, and she's been getting better and better. I actually got the first part of the Upland Institute and been working with her on some of the stuff there, and man, it's been like almost a light switch turning her around.
Hey guys, wanted to talk to you about a new partner of our podcast, Cutting Edge Outfitters. They're North Texas' premier outfitter, located up in Cromwell, Texas, with over 50 years of guiding experience. You're guaranteed to have a great hunt and an even better hunting experience. You can check out whitetail, axis, duck, geese, turkey probably. They've got everything. Danny and Kyle have been doing this a long time. You tell them Stormwater Creek sent you, they'll take care of you. Look for them at cuttingedgeoutfitters.com.
Around with that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I tell you, I've got a new pup coming. I'm going to Iowa to pick it up, and again, another rare breed, a wire-haired Vizsla.
Oh yeah,
my neighbor has a Vizsla.
And I've never, you know, even though I judge a lot of them, I've never wanted to put one in my truck. It's just they're not. You know, everybody's got to look. You know, there's some dogs like, I'm just not going to own one. I mean, nice dog. I'm just not going to buy one. And the wire-haired Vizslas that I got to meet all came right from Hungary, and they look just like a German. I mean, there's only way they're going to get wire-haired Vizslas to put a wire hair into the bloodline back in the day. And some of these ones that came over from Hungary look just like a German wire hair. I mean, they 100%. Same furnishing, same headset, same body, rough coat, you know, real nice. I met a couple of them, and I ran into a girl at a test, and she had a litter, and me and another judge friend of mine, he says, well, if I can't talk you getting it back into a wire hair again, he says, what do you say we go in halves on this one? I'm like, who gets to keep it? He goes, you do, but I'll train it. I said, all right, let's do it.
Hell of a deal.
Right?
Hell of a deal. I got to get it through the puppy test, and then the following year I'll hunt it, and then the following year after that, he's a trainer up in North Dakota, and then he's going to train it for utility testing. And not that I couldn't do it, but I'm too lazy these days to want to do it. And so he'll put the polish on it, and the girl that bred it, she actually does show ring stuff along with hunting. She's a hunter, but the sire of this dog was at Westminster last year at the dog show, and I am a big fan of conformation in dogs because if you let it go too far away from what the conformation can be, you're not really getting the same dog. You know, I've seen some short hairs, not busting on short hairs. They're the most popular dog in NAVDA, and they're talented as hell. But I could find you 35-pound short hairs in Florida. Like bred to be 35 pounds. It's like that's not what the Germans had in mind when they made the German wire hair.
Yeah,
it was absolutely not. And same thing with, you know, a lot of other breeds. They're oversized, undersized. There's people with wire hairs in some areas, and I know the guys personally. They breed for small. I'm like, I know you're breeding for desire and cooperation, and dogs hunt great. But why couldn't you have paid attention to the conformation along the way while you were breeding the dog? Why did you throw the conformation out with the bathwater?
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, my mom said, the teacher said, if he would just apply himself, like, well, why don't these people apply the standard to their dog, right?
Let me interrupt. For the layman, and myself included, since I'm not, I know a little bit about labs and duck hunting, and that's even at surface level. Conformation. Explain that term.
Well, conformation is all these breeds, wherever they started. There's only a couple breeds that started in the States.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Boykin Spaniel and legend is the Chesapeake Bay Retriever, which was a
I know Chessies.
Other dogs, right? Which nobody wants a Chessie. We know that.
I know guys with Chessies. Nobody wants them.
Not up here.
Oh.
If I lived on the ocean and I wanted a dog to go in the salt water and the waves, I'll take a Chessie. But short of that, I haven't met one that I fell in love with. But so all the breed clubs from Europe back in the day, all dogs had what they call a breed warden, whatever breed it was. Munsterlanders, German Wirehairs, Kurzhaars, which are short hairs, Griffins, Stickelhaars. I mean, you name it. Every breed had what was called a breed warden. And it was up to him to say, okay, this dog should be 23 inches at the shoulder. Its tail angle should be this. Its back leg should be a little shorter than its front legs. Its body should be maybe a little rectangular. If you not to say be gross, but if you could Photoshop the neck and the head off of a dog, its height and its width should either be square or slightly rectangular, depending on the breed.
Okay.
Like a Dachshund, you wouldn't want a Dachshund that was not long, right?
Sure.
Dachshund is supposed to be a long-bodied dog. You wouldn't want a Jack Russell Terrier that weighed 60 pounds. It ain't going to go in the hole and kill vermin.
Mm-hmm.
And so Europeans were really good at breed standards. So when we started getting all these dogs in this country, the breed clubs kind of came with it, or people here said, all right, we're gonna try to uphold these standards. But then what happens is with the performance things, like whether it's a field trial or a hunt test, or I don't care if you're in agility, they want a dog that performs to what they want. Instead of finding the dog in that breed that can do that, they're like, if we breed them a little smaller, a little finer boned, they can, I'm just making this up, they could run the obstacle course faster, because it's like a wrestler versus a basketball player,
Sure.
And so it's like they took basketball players and said, let's make wrestlers out of them. Why? We got wrestlers. We already got all these guys in Iowa that are 5 foot 8 inches tall and throw bales of hay like a son of a bitch onto a tractor wagon. And you want to take a 6 foot 7 inch guy and you want to make him a wrestler. His hips are too high off the ground. He can't do it. But we in America love to just screw with stuff.
Right? Oh yeah, absolutely.
And, like English Lab is kind of is a bit of a trigger point for some people.
Yep.
It's like, oh, it's an English Lab. Well, I'm sorry it was developed there, and I'll bet you they kind of know what they're doing.
I listened to that podcast you did with I can't remember his name, but he the Absolutely Positive Gun Dog Training guy with that book.
Yep.
And that was an interesting podcast because he talked about the same thing about how Americans have messed with the lab so much, where you have a whiny lab in the blind, where it's funny because his English lab will sit there quiet.
He'll go to sleep in his
super peaceful.
He'll go to sleep.
And we hunted next to somebody that had a lab across the way, and the whole time you could hear it whining and yelping and just they were far away from us. And you could hear that dog just frothing at the mouth. You just knew he was waiting for a bird to come in. It's like, I don't want to hunt with that.
No.
There's an in-between of drive and chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's probably too chill, but...
What we refer to in my circles, there's a balance of So you got inherited characteristics of all bird dogs. The difference between a flushing dog, which is a lab, and a German Shorthair is the lab's true nature is to flush the bird and make it rise in the air. Or in a lab's case, very good at marking. Their eye set is different than most dogs. But a pointing dog is supposed to point. But other than that, it's search, it's desire, it's nose, tracking ability, cooperation. All those are inherited skills. And when people compete, they're like, you know what? I can override an uncooperative dog with an e-collar. I can teach him to do what I want him to do. It's not what he wants to do. I'm going to make him do what he wants to do. So they're like, oh, he's so hard charging. I'm going to make a field trial dog out of him because he'll run faster and jump higher. But that same dog gets bred, gets sold, and somebody buys it for duck hunting, and the dog is sitting in the blind going, you're like, what? There's no ducks. Shut up, Yeah. And so I've always, when I can interview people from Europe that have trained dog, like they don't even use. I wouldn't go to a court battle on this. They don't allow e-collar use in Europe. Like, I'm sure people get them. I'm sure they're contraband, but you ain't buying one online at a dog store or a gun store. They train their dogs. They want the temperament, the conformation, and the performance to be what the parents before them had, and then they work with that. And, I trained one of my wire hairs back in the day. The dog, 0 for training, never had an e-collar on its neck. Never. I got him through the invitational. Well, he didn't pass the invitational. He couldn't catch the duck, but that's a whole nother story. But I trained him with all these other people all summer long, and they all got their collars, and they're all lighting their dog up. And I taught my dog everything on the table. I taught him his manners. I taught him everything with no e-collar on his neck. And where people get a little bit with English labs is like, yeah, English labs are pretty much still what they were supposed to be. So
it's good to know.
It's an easier, the dog just has a balanced level of cooperation and desire. Cooperation is kind of what they say, desire takes you out and cooperation brings it back. But when there's nothing to bring back, you need cooperation to just live with the dog. It's like having an uncooperative kid,
Yeah.
At some point, even the parent wants to drown them.
For sure.
Yes.
Oh, that summarizes it great.
Yeah,
because Max
describes Max.
Max is smart and listens and is looking for direction a lot of the time. But if there's not much to do, I'm cool. But if there's something to do, yeah, we're doing it.
Right.
Yeah, I paid attention a lot. He'll always look at you.
Yeah, he looks
at you like, what's up? There's something over there. What's going on?
Huh. That's really interesting.
He knows, man.
Yeah.
He's a good dog.
Well, Jordan, you said you started messing with the Upland Institute with your short hair.
Yes, I did. I got the first what do you call it? The basic
foundation and fundamentals.
Yes, there you go. And it's funny because I wish y'all would have done this sooner, Ron. I did want to bitch at you for that.
Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming late to this one.
This guy over here. Oh goodness.
But it made it so much easier to just mess with my dog in general. Like I sent her to a trainer, and he did great with her. And as per usual, I'm pretty working class, so I ran out of money for a trainer, and I had no one to really lean on with German Shorthair. I wanted a quail dog, that's why I got her, and it kind of was just like I'm just gonna figure this out. And we got River, and she did really good. She did good at the trainer, and she came back kind of almost there, and I took her out. I took her to New Mexico because it was hard for me to find any quail here in Texas. We went several places, very empty-handed. She already with her breeding, she was pretty good with she already kind of had a turn signal on her. She did pretty good in the field, but just never in front of birds. and she wasn't refined. She didn't have that, like, you know what I mean? We just didn't have all that. You put her on a leash, and she like all the heel training I knew how to do, she wouldn't do. I did the half hitch on her, and she would fight that half hitch. She always wanted to be in front of me and searching, like no matter what we were doing. And so I started with the fundamentals from y'all, and now she'll walk on a leash pretty easily. It was completely different how y'all set that up from what I knew, you know. And I did choke chains and stuff like that with her, and still, like, she would walk for a little bit, and then she just kind of wanted to ook out, like, no matter what I did. And I thought I was doing it wrong, but I thought I was doing what I knew wrong, and it was just, she didn't need that. She needed how y'all laid it out in that video. And now, man, she's a different dog. My wife even said, you know, even at the house, she's a different dog. She doesn't listen to my wife for crap, but you know,
they'll do that. You know, I mean, my wife's corgi doesn't listen to me, and she listens to her, and my big dogs don't listen to her, and they listen to me. But, you know, to that point, and this is not like, we're not going to do a big sales thing, but when Justin and I put that Upland Institute together, I mean, that's all that guy does is train bird dogs since he was 18 years old. And I learned so much. And, I can train a dog. I can train my dog. But I couldn't train other people's dogs because I'd be like, I ain't doing it. No, I ain't doing it. Mm-hmm. But when you see it laid out, like, oh, that's what it takes. You see how it's all really linked together. Like, your dog's a little old to start, but I would say I would still put your dog on a tie-out stake.
Yep.
And let him know that it's not all about him. It's about, oh, this is where I just have to chill.
Yeah.
And then that tie-out stake goes to the check cord. The check cord goes, it keeps putting you into teacher mode with the dog.
It's funny you said that because I work in a shop and I have access to a welder, and I made several tie-out stakes. I keep one at work because my dog comes to work with me after I got the video, and I put her on a tie-out stake, and that was one of the things that really turned her around. And it was funny because it was almost instant. I put her on a tie-out stake one time, and she immediately knew what was going on, and she respects the collar. She respects the light tug on the collar. She fought the stake instead of me, and then it was amazing. Just the little bit of difference, something simple.
So you just hook them to that tie-out stake and let them burn it out.
Yeah,
like you ain't going anywhere.
Yep,
ain't going anywhere. I tell people when you put a dog in a tie-out stake, it's like crate training a dog. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm a big fan. Obviously, Gunner Kennels is one of my sponsors, but you can crate train a dog better in a solid kennel than you can in a kennel that's got a wiggly door. Because what's a puppy do in a kennel? They're bored. They want to come out. And if they start wiggling that door, like, oh, I think I got something here. I got something. It's hope. Yeah, there's hope. and I've told people that they've wrote me and they said, like, I want to try to gunner kennel. My dog has broke out of every kennel. And I tell them, I said, picture if you were, and this is just a total rabbit hole. Picture if you got kidnapped and somebody put you into a plywood shed, 4 sheets of plywood nailed together in a corner, and you don't know why you're in there. You got enough light cracking, coming through the cracks. You're like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. And you start pushing on the wall, and that wall's a little weak. Like, I'm going to start throwing my shoulder into it. I'm going to start kicking it. I'm going to get out. At least I'm going to feel like I can get out. But if you got locked up and you were put into a cement vault with a little beam of light, plenty of air to live, you're going to hit that wall once and go like, I don't think I'm getting out. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm just going to have to sit here. And that's what a tie-out stake does to a dog. It teaches it, it's not my turn. It's just like, I guess he'll be back in a little while. And, it does. It makes a difference. I've done that with my pups. Even though Justin does it with all of his, I hadn't done it in a while. And this new pup I'm getting is going right on a tie-out stake when he's 3-4 months old. But it works again. Your dog was older, and then it's just linking those things together, where he always remembers, like, yeah, this means somebody else is in charge a little bit. This around the neck. That half hitch is just. We tell people when they get a squirrely dog, like, here, let me show you. Take this rep, come around the waist, pick it up.
Yep.
At least they're not pulling their arm out of the socket, but you're not teaching the dog to heel.
Yes.
You're just teaching the dog that if I pull, this doesn't feel good.
Yes. I was actually worried a couple times at River. Like, I was like, I might damage her because she would just she would just run against it. I mean, she's German. She's hard-headed. She's every bit of a German dog. For what I know, and she's just like, eventually she'd be like, I'm going to test this, and it would be a fight. We'd walk around the neighborhood, and I'd come back, and my wife would be like, how's it going? I was like, actually, my arm's sore.
And then you take Austin's lab, you put a leash on it, and it's so cooperative. It's like, okay, I'll walk with you.
You don't need a leash.
He just
heels up and like, yeah, let's go.
I don't think I've seen him on a leash in a very long time.
He doesn't wear a collar half the time. He just chills.
He doesn't go very far. Mine's always searching for something, which is good in most senses, but...
Well, I mean, yeah, the pointing dog needs to be independent. It needs to search. It needs to... You're not going to find... If it only walked with you, well, then you should just have a lab, because lab's going to find what's ever in front of you. But he's not going to cast out 100 yards and all of a sudden say, hey, I just found a covey of quail over here.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's a reason why they have that drive. It's just that breeding has got it unbalanced. It should be like a normal dog. You should just be able to go, shh, hey, come on, up, 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 up. They should run to you.
Yep. And
most pointing dogs without a little training don't do that. I mean, you have to hack them in, or you got to yell at them, or you got to coax them in. It's not a mystery, but I'm telling you, most people have trouble with dogs. They have no idea what the grandparents and the great-grandparents were, and somewhere in that lineage is a dog that was wound for sound, and that one pup picked up, like, it's all about me.
Yep.
And, of course, then we make mistakes as new dog owners. Everybody does, but,
yes.
No, the Upland Institute was. I'm really proud of it. It took us 15 months to film it. I mean, we literally had dogs that were on their first time on a tie-out stake, first time on a wool post, and we shot those same dogs 9 months later. Pointing sharp-tailed grouse and Hungarian partridge in North Dakota, and and anybody can do it. But I want people to know, like, you watch that video. It does not make you a dog trainer, but at least it gives you a little idea what it should look like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I got out of it, because I've listened to a lot of the podcasts you do with Justin. I actually have told people that are into starting a dog or trying to do stuff to listen to a lot of the stuff Justin does with you, because they are your most popular for a reason. In your podcast, and he definitely does a lot of things. I tried to do all this stuff, like read a book. I read a bunch of books. And they helped me out a lot. I learned a lot of stuff from it, but they were just kind of like, you do A, B will happen, and then the C will be your outcome, and that's how it works. And it was really frustrating for me, because I would just be like, well, what am I doing wrong? And I'd go through it and go through it and go through it, and it just wouldn't work. And watching the Upland Institute, he's like, well, here's this scenario that might happen, and here's how I do this, and you can even upgrade to using a pinch collar, because this is the extreme, but like you can do this, and if you add it with the stakeout pole, then you shouldn't have this problem. And even with when I taught her, she already kind of had a blinker on her, and or a turn signal, and I put her on a short cord, and then literally we walked around. I take her to work, and I work in a big. I'm a heavy equipment mechanic, and we have a huge yard with a huge field in front of it, and she goes to work with me 2 times a week, and we go on walks during my breaks, and I put her on a huge check cord. and work her, and it took one break, which is 15-minute break, for her to already have a turn signal on her. And now now we'll go for a walk, and if I say something, just a little, like I give her an up. I go up, and she looks at me and goes, "Oh crap, I wasn't paying attention." She's already in front of me, but normally she watched where I go now. It took that little bit of time.
And that's what, with Justin, he is such a traditional, in the old days, heck yeah, in the old days.
I love it. I'm so excited about this.
I happen to be right next to the urinal.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, get jealous. And, in the old days, the only training tool a trainer had, there was no e-collars, and they've been running pointing dogs since the 1870s, right? In competition, they had one tool to teach a dog, and that was a check cord. Mm-hmm. And he won't, until he hunts a dog, that dog's, unless he's in some weird area where, he would lose the dog or the check cord get tied up, that dog just drags that check cord with him, but it's always a reminder.
Yep.
And then when you take the dog off, the dog literally's like, it's like check cord smart. He's like, oh yeah, I'm they almost don't know if they got a check cord on or not. And that's really, if you wanted to break it down and go like, you want to train your dog, put him on a damn check cord when he's a puppy, get a bigger check cord when he's older, and never let the dog understand that he's in charge.
Yep.
And that check cord is just like a little language to him. It's a tool that I've used many times, but I never use it to the degree where Justin did. Like the field handling, just that little flip it over, turn your body, flip it over, turn your body. Dog's like, okay. And then when the dog is doing what you want it to do, then you give the command a name.
Yep.
Or a whistle or an e-collar stem. And that was what I really learned from him was when he's teaching a dog to heel, he doesn't ever say the word heel. He just turns direction. And the dog's like, whoop, what? Oh, what? And pretty soon the dog's just going, I better just walk next to him. And then when he sees the walking, then he gives it the name. A real bad thing with pointing dog people, and I see it when I'm judging dogs, is they, even with a puppy, they want to whoa their dog. I'm like, the dog doesn't know what whoa is yet. But everybody thinks you should whoa your dog on point. Whoa is an obedience command that you teach in the yard. You teach them to stop without the stimulation of a bird. And people get the dog on a bird, and they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That dog might as well be hearing hi, 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 hello. It doesn't mean anything to the dog. And then the dog breaks, and they shoot the bird. Well, dog thinks he did everything right, know? I swear, the simple thing is like, get a check cord. it's just the right tool for a pointing dog, for sure.
Yeah, that's why I was, as everyone made fun of me, that's why I wanted what you made when I had River when she was younger, because I would have kept her on a check cord a lot long, when she was younger and done a lot of things different. But that kind of also brings me into a couple things that I'm always curious about and I saw it the other day, I can't remember who posted up, it was some kennel that I follow on Instagram, and they were talking about never giving a dog a squeaky toy and things like that. Like, what are some of the things that you really shouldn't do with a dog? Like, should you never give a dog a squeaky toy, like a pointing dog, because it'll teach them to chomp birds?
I would almost stay off that subject. It's probably
spoken like a true politician.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll circle back.
There's no point in giving a dog a squeaky toy. But if you like giving your dog a squeaky toy, you want to see your dog make it squeak, you're getting a dog that could possibly, when he gets a bird in his mouth, go like, how come it's not squeaking? Puppies have fun with everything. Puppies have fun with other dogs. Puppies have fun with butterflies. You know,
Mine chases grasshoppers like a champ.
Oh yeah, I had a dog. I had this dog. He died last year, and we had him in North Dakota. And I was just like so proud of him. He was coursing this field beautiful, and bam, he locked up. And I'm like, holy shit, look at that! And we walk out there. I said, I bet you it's those Huns. And because I was told, there's a couple coveys of Huns in this wheat field. It was a damn dragonfly. I get there, and there's no Huns. What do you... I mean, it was the most intense statuesque point, locked up, looking.
Oh,
He's not looking at me. He's just like going, oh, God. And then this dragonfly just gets up off this wheat stubble and flies around, and he chased it for 5 minutes.
That's awesome.
Well, but I went way off what you're asking. Things to don't do, I'll tell people, and I learned this from Justin. You want to do retrieving drills, you don't need to tape wings to things. You don't need to use scent. Retrieving is also an instinct. In a lot of German dogs, it's a very good instinct. Most of them have somewhat we call a natural retrieve. They want to go put something in their mouth. They may not bring it back to hand, but they're going to parade around with it, and they're glad to carry it around.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're going to do retrieving drills with a short hair, wire hair, Weimaraner, do those in a controlled area where, let's say, down a hallway.
Yep.
And dog, he's either going to stand down there or he's going to come back to you. He's got no other place to go. When he gets a little older, you can start throwing bumpers out in the yard for him. But I think people mess around with like too many retrieves early with a dog, especially if they're, and what we see, what happens is, okay, God, I don't know what I'm doing, but man, this dog likes to retrieve. And I did that with that little Cocker Spaniel of mine. I played tennis balls for hours in here. And that guy that helped me train it in Wisconsin said, it took me a week to get her to not break. Because all you did was, of course, that's all I did. So She thought everything was right in the world. And but I never had, all my pointing dogs are, I'd say, natural retrievers where I still force break them later on just for a cleaner retrieve. But they're never this crazy about it. And it was just fun. It was just like, hey, ba-doom. It was like playing handball with a partner. And she would just bring it back, ba-doom, off the wall. She'd bring it back. And, so people mess up with retrieving. And I think the other thing, and this is one of my big mantras, everyone writes me, and you'll hear all kinds of people say, how soon should I get my dog into birds? And I said, if your dog is well bred, yeah, a couple birds here, a couple birds there. Let them find birds when they're older. No, I don't mean older, but I mean, you don't have to do it at 2 and 3 months.
Yeah.
Let them think the world revolves around you, because a dog will a dog will start thinking that the world revolves around birds really quick and easy. And people are like, well, my friend says I should, by 3 months I should be at least letting him, even if he doesn't point, I should get him in front of birds. I'm like, and this is what I've said to everybody.
Don't ask me, ask your friend.
The love of a bird is part of their instincts. It's not desire. They've been bred for hundreds of years to want to get a bird. Whether it's a lab, short hair, any breed, they want to get a bird. And I asked him, I asked this one guy that called me up, and I said, guy, I said, you might not like this question. I said, are you gay or straight? And he goes, well, I'm straight. I said, okay. I said, doesn't matter. I want to get the rest of the story right. So when you were 5 years old, did your dad leave Playboy magazines out? Or was he pretty sure that when you hit puberty, you were going to look for the centerfold? Okay? It's the same thing with dogs. They are not going to not, if they're well bred, they're not going to not like birds.
Mm-hmm.
What they don't have is an instinct to do everything for you. So you want to get more time without bird contacts with a lot of dogs. Now, if you got a dog that's not showing anything, it's kind of dopey, and it's kind of like, man, I don't know if I got much here. that might wake up the dog a little bit. That might get the dog to chase a little bit and develop his search. But that is an instinct. The only thing that isn't instinctual with a dog is obedience. And if you give him too much stimulus early, he's going to constantly be looking for that Playboy magazine. And you know what happened when we found our first Playboy, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, it
never stopped.
No, yeah, right. And a whole lot of decisions we made in our teens were based on that Playboy magazine.
Woo! Well into my adult years.
So that's what I would say.
That is a good analogy right there. I like that one a lot. That's good.
I've heard that analogy from him before, and it's spot on every time I hear it. Like, it's just.
But you can't hear it enough. It's like they have instincts don't expire. I know people that have gotten English setters, German short hairs from a kennel that or a humane society.
Mm-hmm.
They were pet dogs. They were 5 years old, 6 years old. Yeah, they needed structure and they needed to see who was boss and they needed to learn how to come when called. But there's one guy I interviewed, and it's all he does is hunt with dogs that get into a rescue where his wife works. And every one of them is a competent bird dog because instincts don't expire. But obedience is not an instinct.
Was that the same guy? I remember listening to a podcast you did, and the guy went to, I can't remember, it was like Montana or something like that, picked a dog up from a rescue, and then took it out in the field and hunted with it like that. Like, just a rescue dog. Like, and it was already there. Like, I mean, he kept on a check cord and stuff like that, but.
Yeah, the instincts in the dog don't expire. And to the point of training, whether it's the trained retrieve or whatever you're teaching later on, if you don't have time, the dog's not going to forget where it was. It might be a half a step back, but the dogs remember, like horses remember. Like if I had horses once way back in the day. Turned out I was scared to death of them. I just wanted one. Thought it'd be cool. But a horse, like if I had this horse and it saw like a sewer cover, and it was on a gravel. It was a gravel road, but it was an improved road. And I was riding a horse, and it looked down and saw, like, it was actually like your podcast, storm drain. It was like a storm drain lid. Yes. And I saw the horse look down at it, and he just freaked out. And you're like, what? Well, somewhere in that horse's life, he stepped on something that looked like. They don't forget.
Yeah.
Dogs don't forget. It's just up to us to, put that structure in their life and then work with what they've got. Now, there's some, and, Jordan, I don't know your dog. I think he's a pretty typical short hair. He just needs structure. And he's going to be fine. But, I mean, there are some ill-bred dogs out there, and I've seen them. I'm sorry. Those dogs, I mean, if you want to keep it the rest of your life, go ahead. But they're literally, it's just like, it's like people. You've had kids in school and friends at work. You're like going, that guy ain't right. I don't care what you say. I don't know what his parents are. Where's that?
That's
you're missing.
That's the fourth member of our podcast. The boy ain't right here.
Well,
the boy ain't right.
Well, how about we reconvene after duck season, and Abe will come on, and we can pick on Abe.
Oh man!
Buckle up! You don't even know. Buckle up. Abe's like our little brother. He's just some of the stuff he does. You just want to shake him and punch him in the neck.
We recently,
but anybody else, like, you don't talk to him like that.
Galveston, when we went down, it was my bachelor party. We went down to the Texas coast, and a buddy of mine was like, "Man, you guys rag on him a lot." And we're like, "Give it just 24 hours, you'll see." And the next day, he's like, "All right, I get it. I understand."
Yep.
He deserves it.
Yep. And Abe could have used a tie-out steak when he was a toddler.
Still can.
I might use one of mine. I have several now.
He still can.
Oh God.
Just a boy.
I do got to ask this because I see it all, and I told you I was going to ask you, like, who's wearing Crocs right now?
I am.
We all own them.
I got off work, came straight here, so my Crocs are not on. And Jordan,
I was actually going to bring it up a little later on, but you already got to it, so go ahead.
Well, it's just so wrong. It's so wrong. Like if a truck tips over on the road and there's hot oil, how are you going to go save somebody in a car wearing Crocs?
Obviously, you never wore Crocs because you could go through hot oil in them because I've done it.
There's a 4-wheel drive mode.
Yeah, there's a 4-wheel drive mode. See, what you do is you take them and, like, you shift this down, and that's 4-wheel drive.
Jesus. Right.
I'll say.
Okay, go, you take this one.
Jordan and I have a friend who started wearing Crocs years ago. I mean, a long time ago. And when he first started wearing them, all of us were like, "What is that mess?" Like, no, man. Yeah. Like, no way.
We made fun of him pretty hard.
We bagged on this guy.
Right.
And then you end up with a pair, and you take your boots off after walking around a field all day, and it's like, damn it, he was right.
So that is the best thing after a duck hunt, and I take my waders off, and the first thing I do is put my Crocs on, and it's like a breath of fresh air. Like, all right, cool, I can get home now.
Sitting around any hunting camp post hunt in Crocs is just the way it works.
Yep. And Crocs are like a deer camp, duck camp
staple.
Right after hunting, just going to the house and just being done with your waders type shoe. You slide them on,
or
and
snake
that's it.
Boots or rubber boots.
Snake boots, all that stuff. Like, that's it.
I get it. I just have I was born in 1957, and there's some things I just can't let go of.
I get it.
Now, it's same thing with flip-flops. I got a son-in-law. He's a lawyer. I think he wears flip-flops when he goes to court. I'm like, how do you do that? Are you going to get a pedicure? Because I don't want to see your ugly fucking toenails. Okay?
That's why the Crocs have the covers on them.
Yeah. These are
well, the holes in Crocs are to let your manhood out. That's
I always wondered.
Yeah, I thought they would just give you the weird sunburn.
So then it goes to Birkenstocks. Like, how many guys
that's some dirty hippie business.
Oh, what's the matter?
Nah.
You didn't like Crocs in the beginning either.
You're right, but I never liked Birkenstocks.
Are you saying Crocs are a gateway drug? Like marijuana?
Yes. In 5 years, one of you are going to have a pair of Birkenstocks and go like, dude.
No,
it's going to be Abe.
What happens now is you've said it, and Abe's going to hear this podcast, and he's going to show up to the next podcast with Birkenstocks on.
And here's how that happened. Some guy who had a wife whose feet were close to his size, which most men don't have, but he went out to go get the paper one morning, and he's like, oh, shit, it's wet out there. Yep. And his wife's Birkenstocks were at the door. And he stuffs his toes. He stuffs his toes in them, and he goes out to get the paper. And on his way back, he just looked down. He's like,
ain't so bad.
Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. And then he sees some magazine where they're unisex Birkenstocks. Well, they're not really unisex Birkenstocks. It's like scrubs at a hospital. They're scrubs.
I got you.
If you're a nurse, you can wear Crocs and scrubs. If you're not, you can't. Okay?
They wouldn't make them in camo if you couldn't.
And then Crocs they're genius. They made them in camo, and that gave a license for everybody to throw their man card out. Every one of them.
Oh.
They're like, Crocs.
See, now we have to send you a pair. Now we have to send you a pair of Crocs.
I got them at Academy, and they're in the hunting department. Fuck you.
No Crocs, man.
The man card from my cold, dead hand.
I get it. I understand. I was anti-Croc for a long time.
It took me a while, too. I mean, when I first started hunting with you guys, I was like, I'm not getting Crocs.
Yeah, he's like, why would I wear Crocs? You're idiots.
Right.
Now
and then all of a sudden, it's universally accepted. And then it's going to be something else. So you got to draw the line in the sand somewhere.
I mean, we've drawn it at Birkenstocks.
Yeah,
no question.
Yeah, no question on Birkenstocks.
2021, you drew it the line for Birkenstock.
No, I mean my lines. I'm pretty old. I'm getting old. My lines aren't changing.
He has hit the old man lines not moving back.
Yeah, my lines are drawn. I'm good.
I gotta check something here real quick. Give me a second. I gotta see. I heard a little peep on my phone. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Well, guys, I gotta wrap this up in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, we're
it's all good.
It was. I feel like I know you guys, and plus on a Zoom where you get to see each other.
Yeah.
It's if our paths don't cross, our podcast will cross in the future. Because this is what I love about podcasts. You can just get together with your buddies and tell stories, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
100%.
And just laugh. And it's I give you guys all the credit in the world. There's people who start podcasts, and I listen to them, and I'm like going, why? We don't need NPR doing a podcast.
Yes.
They do a fine job at radio produced shows, right? You can get a good Science Friday, but if you're a hunter or a hiker I'm like, why do you want to try to act like a disc jockey when really you just want to bullshit with your friends?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
You just want to chat.
That's exactly why we started this, and we probably will never change. Just
the only reason we'll stop is we've said it is if it stops being fun.
yeah.
I mean, that's 99% of the reason we do it. It's fun. We meet up every Thursday. We get to see each other. We drink some beers. We talk to somebody cool, or just rag on each other.
Yeah,
but
it's
every
just the four of
Thursday,
us, it's bad.
every Thursday we hang out and it's fun.
That's what people do universally. I mean, guys are a little better at it than girls, but I've had some girls on the podcast that I've told them like, you need to start a podcast. Mm-hmm. You need to be the voice of the women out there because you're funny. It'd be like, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to. I said, I'm telling you, you'd be great at it, and I don't know if anybody's done that yet. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll happen.
Yeah.
There'll be a stormwater.
Storm drain.
Storm drain. That's the new name of the podcast, by the way.
There'll be a Storm Drains ladies version. You get all your wives together. Once Jared's wife says, shit, now I said I do, now I do what?
Oh, she very well knows what she signed up for.
100%.
We all hang out a lot as groups, so she knows.
Well, hopefully you all kicked out of your coverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to wrap it up, as we normally do, shameless self-promotion right now.
Where can people find you? Plug all your stuff.
Yeah, well, anything with the Hunting Dog Podcast, you can look up. You'll find it. The website. You don't need www. Everybody knows that. Hunting Dog Podcast. I'm almost done with my 7th year of it. There's 300 and some odd episodes out there. And the Upland Institute is my new passion, the online dog training course. I appreciate Jordan's interjection on it. And, it's not going to make it's not a miracle worker.
No.
But if you apply it, it gives you some, it gives you a little something to try for,
Mm-hmm.
And then your next dog, when you get a Brittany, will be even better.
Yep. Thanks.
Is that what he needs to get next?
Well, there's a lot of Brittany's in Texas, I'm told. So I don't know. Maybe that's not true.
I think he needs to get a lab, but
they're the classic. Brittany's. Everyone always asks, "Oh, you had a bird dog for Quell? Brittany? Is it Brittany? No, it's GSP. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
I thought they used them for Schutzen.
Yes. But
all right, guys.
Dude, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Ron, really appreciate you.
We're
going to
hold you to early spring, postseason. Drink some whiskey, and we'll bag on Abe for a while.
Yeah.
Plan March, April.
You guys get Abe in the room, and if I can be there on a Thursday, this is a hoot. if it wasn't 1,800 miles, I'd come down in person for the next one.
Man,
Word.
we'll figure something out. Maybe we come up there.
There you go.
We got a pile of whiskey
guys.
we can bring. But we're going to let you get to it, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being there. Thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
doing it.
Yes,
Appreciate it,
sir.
Ron. Thank you.
I'd say keep it real, but you guys already keep it
Oh,
real.
yeah.
We try.
If the one thing we do, that's it.
In fact, you might be a little too real, but that's great.
Nah.
See ya.
Cheers,
Bye.
Ron.
Storm drain out.
Stormwater Creek is the best. Grinch, the captain. Abe, the helper. Jordan, the problem solver. I hope you like Stormwater Creek. Stormwater Creek.